Hello, welcome back to From the Source podcast. New season, new setup, new episode. So for those of you that are watching on YouTube right now, you'll see it's just me, different setup, just me on my own, no Connor. He's had some life-changing news recently and he's decided to take a bit of time away from the podcast. So for anyone that's asking, I have no idea when he'll be coming back. The news, I'll let him tell you. People that know him closely will know why he's not doing the podcast at the minute. We've not fallen out. It's not some bickering little EastEnders episode. It's just timing. It's just life. So I'm gonna carry the flag for the podcast for a bit, and in the future, if Connor comes back. So that's just the way it is. So for the next however many episodes, I'll be talking about similar topics to what we used to talk about. So running, nutrition, Hyrox, you name it, sport related. We'll just be chatting about it. Obviously, I don't think the podcast will be 40 minutes because I don't think I can sit and talk to myself for 40 minutes, but we'll give it a go. So there might be 15, 20-minute snippets and they kind of grow from there. So the first episode of the new season, I thought we'd talk about something that's actually been kind of a big thing for me for the last 2 months, which is running. Been purely running, pretty much purely running. Was struggling to get to the gym, had aspirations and wants to do more than the marathon, so ultras, 50k and upwards. So my training's kind of pretty much changed now. So it's just running, long distance, intervals, tempos, trying to take care of myself a bit more in recovery. So that's like icing at home, stretching, theragunning. So I thought we'd kind of get into my thoughts on a running plan. So I've put together 5 little topics to talk about. So they're probably going to be, they're going to be about the importance of a structured running plan, kind of the customization everyone has of running plans to meet different goals, common mistakes I may find or other people I've heard say to me about how they make a running plan and how you can potentially avoid them. The kind of role in purely not just competing or doing a running plan solely, but also having those rest days, maybe adding in some light strength days into that running plan, and kind of how you can stay consistent with your running plan. So get into kind of the importance of a structured running plan. Maybe a few of you have previously watched the podcast when, I don't know how many episodes back it would have been, first season, if you will. We kind of talked about the importance of a structured running plan and how me and Connor have previously used the app Runner, which for those of you that don't know, you basically just put in what goal you want, how many weeks you want to train for, the best times for you to train at, and it kind of makes a tailored running plan for you. So it gives you a notification on your phone each day. And you just kind of get up and you go and you just do it. So it's a really simple way. You don't have to go into much detail in Google and structure your own running plan and stuff like that. But when you get into Runner, you kind of get the grips of it, and you might not do the plan for months on Runner because you'll kind of know what to do. And if you do one race and want to do another one, you'll know how to do it for the next time. So kind of the idea behind actually having a running plan before you start is it'll actually give you a purpose and a direction. So you won't wake up on a Monday and think, oh shit, what should I do today? It'll be tempos are on Monday, or whatever you want to do, how you want to structure it. I like to do my long runs or longer runs on a weekend, usually a Sunday morning. but I'll try and squeeze in a long one during the week. My running at the minute, I've tried not to run any of my sessions like under 10k, be that an interval, a tempo, or just like a plain zone 2. So kind of setting that purpose will get you towards that end goal, be that a 5k or a marathon. It kind of takes all the thought out of it, and it'll allow you to like progress safely, because people sometimes find that if I want to get better at 10k, I've just got to nail 10ks all the time, and it's not the way. It's not the way to do it. Usually, getting better at those distances, you actually won't even be training those distances. So you won't go out and do 10ks worth of intervals to get better at 10ks. It's not like that. So kind of to get better at marathons and ultras, you do like 10k, 10 to 15k worth of intervals. This is like ballpark. It's not exact for everyone. So you'll do, 10, 15k to get better at an ultra, maybe 5k to get better at 10k, and then you'll do like short 400, 600, 800s, but not many of them to get better at 5k in simple terms. And also having that plan keep you motivated on those days where if you don't have a structured plan, you might be like, I can't be asked doing it today. I'll just have a day off. Whereas, and this isn't for everyone, but having a plan it'll hold you accountable to basically be like, got to go out today. Or I've told everyone I'm doing this 12 or 14 week plan. If I miss today, you'll probably miss another day. And that just creeps in, and before you know it, that race or whatever you've got planned will come around and you'll think, shit, we should have done that on that Tuesday night. So in short, that's probably the brief importance of like having a plan. So it just gives you structure when you've got like a busy week. Most people work 9 to 5. So it just gives you something else. And especially when like life gets in the way, it just keeps you on that straight and narrow, really. And that probably kindly brings us into kind of customizing your running plan to meet your goals. So like I said at the start, I'm doing an ultra or wanting to do an ultra, even it's just like, just go out and just do a 50k, not even in a race. I've customized that to those goals. So my long runs, 20 plus k, I'm trying to get in at least the 50k distance across a 4 or 5 day week that I'm training in. And that's kind of the bit I'd probably encourage people to do is if you're training for a marathon, at least expose your body to that marathon distance across the week so it's used to it. And I guarantee you, which is quite a nice moment when it actually happens, is you'll go out for a run one time and you'll be like, wow, all these like long runs I did where they were slogging them and I thought they were hard, it all just clicks, and you look at your watch and the times or your heart rate is lower than what it was a few weeks ago. It's such a nice feeling when these kind of goals that you've got like kind of click. So make sure you're tailoring the plan to the target. Don't do a 5k plan if you're doing a half marathon. It's not the same. Obviously, quicker times, shorter distances, it just won't work. So you need to build that foundation of fitness across that structured plan, be it 12, 14 weeks. So don't get too disheartened at the start of your plan. If you just, say if you're doing a 10k, you're just going out and doing a 5k zone 2, that plan ramps up. And before you know it, you're in the pain cave, as most people call it. And it seems hard at the time, and that's probably going to be a hard session. But in a few weeks, that hard session that you thought it was is the easy session. And that's kind of where you get that, the runner's high, the bug, whatever you want to call it. And before you know it, you're out competing in bigger races or running faster. It's kind of a horrible feeling at the time, but a really nice feeling. Even when you cross that finish line at the race that the plan's structured for. So make sure you customize those plans to the right goals, and especially if you're using Runner app, I'll really sing the praises on that app. If you're just getting into running, it's a really easy app to use, and it's great for beginner runners. But also within that customization of a plan, make sure you account for, you know, your life. Other things might get in the way. If you've got like slight tweaks or injuries and stuff like that, don't push yourself. Kind of have those recovery days, and don't be scared to have maybe 2 rest days back to back. And no, even though the plan says 1, but have the 2 rest days and train 2 days on the bounce. I do that regularly. Life gets in the way. You might want to do other things, but I stick to currently the 4 days a week training. Some weeks is 4 days solid, which I wouldn't recommend anyone doing. It's not good come day 4, but I make sure I don't miss a day. So customizing that plan and being accountable for it with either short or long-term goals is perfect. Now, I've put down 3 common mistakes in running plans, and probably 2 out of the 3 of them I'm more guilty of than the third one. But still, it's something I've actually recently tried to change, the third one. So the first one is probably the most common, and that's just overtraining. So you used to hear, Ronnie Coleman and all the bodybuilders and stuff say overtraining is just a myth. And I probably wasn't a big enough bodybuilder to even realize that you could even get to the overtraining stage and carry on. But with running, especially, overtraining does happen. And that doesn't say that you could train 7 days a week running, but how efficient or how productive or how good that training session is each day remains to be seen, really. Because I could go out running 7 days a week, but I couldn't do 3 tempos and 2 long runs and 2 interval sessions and have them at the same intensity and productivity as how I wanted them if I did it 7 days a week. The stress and strain you put on your body is ridiculous. I've got obviously a smartwatch like most people have, so I've got a Chorus watch, which I've only recently got, but I found that the data was more in depth than what I was getting from Garmin. And that watch basically tells me if I'm maintaining, if I'm optimizing, or if I'm, in the recovery zone. I can't remember what they call it now, and I somewhat listen to that because you can tell after a tough session that your body's killing and it's going to hurt. So that overtraining burnout, some weeks it'll happen because you just feel good, but it'll come back and bite you on the arse. But I think when you get into that overtraining burnout stage, having that rest, and if it is, like I said before, 2 days rest, listen to the body, just have the 2 days, stretch, go for a walk, don't sit on your arse. Have that active recovery, be it walking a dog, or even just going out for a walk without a dog if you don't own a dog. But listen to the body, and probably leads me into, well, it definitely does lead me into the second one in terms of like common mistakes people do is they skip recovery. The the main one is stretching. And I'm not going to sit here and say I stretch every night, I stretch after every training session, or I stretch before, because I don't. I Every time I pretty much miss doing the stretching or recovery, I think it should have only been like 10, 15 minutes of your life, but what a waste of time, which is the wrong way to look at it because it's only like 10, 15 minutes you can stretch whilst like you're cooking your tea or, I don't know, stretch before you get in the shower. Just even if it's just 5 minutes 3 times a day rather than 15 minutes block. I think well, it is important because, when you put in that stress in your body, your hips get tight. My hips get so tight. Calves get tight, which is another common one, which then, it'll lead to Achilles problems or you'll get glute problems because your hips are bad. And then your training stops. And it's all because you didn't decide to stretch 10 minutes before or 15 minutes after. So if you're not going to stretch before, definitely stretch after. I mean, stretching before is also good. You'll obviously loosen your body up, ready for that session. But what I found, if I don't stretch before an interval or tempo, my body just feels so stiff and it takes a few intervals to get warmed up. And then you're kind of into the workout then, you're into the hard bit and then kind of the workout's over. But especially when you come home, like I do, obviously after the intervals, I'll jog home for like a cool down. Stretch them when your body's nice and warm. Probably one thing I would say is that if you imagined your muscles are kind of like dry spaghetti, all the strains are running in one line. As you warm spaghetti up, it gets nice and warm and relaxed and stuff like that. But when you cool spaghetti down, it just clumps together in one massive lump. That's kind of what your muscles will be like. You'll get really warm, really cool straight away. You'll walk in the house, you'll sit down, all the muscles tighten. And then each time you're doing that, the muscles are getting tighter and tighter. And every time you go to train, it's getting harder and harder to train. So one thing I would say is make sure you're stretching. I'm saying that as someone who doesn't stretch nowhere near enough, but the recovery I do to kind of counterbalance that or to make myself feel better is I do some like ice baths, Theragun, and I've got these like ice packs from like Amazon, which I'll strap around my legs or my hips and stuff like that. So I'll do that, but I'm not doing the full thing or the best thing, which would be the stretching. So I've thought many times about joining a yoga club, but I can't seem to bring myself to sit in a room and be out of breath and not be able to get myself in position. So I've kind of sacked it off, to be fair. And then the third kind of common mistake with the running plans, which is something I want to change myself, is neglecting the nutrition. So you'll see all over social media, everyone will talk about nutrition, how it's 80% of 80% of what you need, and the 20% is just the training, the nutrition, or what you do in the kitchen. It's the best thing for your body to look good, to feel good, to train good, whatever that may be. So in terms of nutrition, I'm good with electrolyte tablet a day. On my long runs, I'll take gels, take electrolytes with me, keep myself hydrated. But kind of where my nutrition falls down is, which is a big one, is not that I eat shit food. I just have extremely poor portion control, which is what I've found is, well, it's not the be all and end all, but I'm training a lot, running a lot, burning a lot of calories, but I don't know if I'm expecting too much from my body, but like physically, nothing's like changing. I'm not losing any muscle, which, you know, is good in a way if you're really asked about that. But I'm not like losing any puppy fat, or I'm not saying I wanted like 6-pack abs and be ultra ripped and be like a bodybuilder. I'm not saying that, but after all these runs, I thought I might have trimmed down a little bit. And that kind of hasn't been the case. So recently I've started using MyFitnessPal again, which I'm not going to go into detail about measuring my grams and all of that lot. I don't want to get into that completely, but it was just a way of looking at portion control and seeing like, am I eating too much? And it's not eyes bigger than your belly that I don't eat my meals, because if anyone knows me, my God, do I eat all the time? And I can't eat all the time. I think I train so I can eat, because otherwise I'd be the size of a house. But I think, well, I definitely am going to implement more portion control. Over the last few days, I found that what I used to eat, obviously now feel a bit more hungrier during the day. But is that because I've been eating too much during the day that I'm just constantly full? Whereas right now that I'm eating enough and I'm not actually hungry, it's just because my body's like, yo, you should be eating right now, Sam, but you're not. So it's a tough one, but fueling correctly for your training sessions, for your long runs is a big one. Because if you're doing them long runs, especially like I've been doing 20 plus Ks a time, if you've not got the carbs in, or the right carbs, or even just like little sugary sweets to keep you going, and you understand how like your body's working, you might not hit the wall on that time, but there'll be times where you'll be 10, 15K from home and you think, oh my God, I've got 10K left to do and everything's hurting because, I don't know, you filled yourself full of 10 pints the night before, but you didn't eat anything. So you've got no carbs in your system. Your body's just running on fumes. So eat smart, hydrate with electrolytes before your runs, take some out, take some gels, and, you know, just be smarter with it. And that's not me saying get MyFitnessPal and stuff like that, but be aware of what you're eating. If you're eating a shitload of Easter eggs, which is the time of the year it is now, you're not going to be able to perform and do a big interval session. And especially if you train with other people like I do, you'll get absolutely smoked. And it's not the best thing to do, to be fair. So eat smart. Now, kind of point 4, section 4 is kind of the roles of not just not just training running. What I was saying before about kind of switching your running up, and you know, if you are doing more running, you should be adding in, you know, 1 or 2 strength sessions a week. I'm not saying like, you know, 110 kilo bench press and 1 rep max and stuff like that, but you know, well, one thing I've found is isometrics, like, you know, isometrics, all single leg, single arm, focus on actually using that muscle rather than just kind of pumping iron. You know, strengthen your knees, strengthen your hips, strengthen your ankles. And that isn't like, sorry to say, that isn't the 1 rep max squats or, you know, 100 kilo front squat and all of that lot. It's time and attention. It's strengthening the joints and everything else around the body, not just the muscle. If you imagine building those quads up to be huge, when you're running 20, 30K, you've got to be able to carry them as well. So it's not as easy as that. So the cross training, that could be strength training, like I said, it could be swimming. You get loads of strength in your legs and kind of take that weight bearing load off them by cycling, which is a good one people do. People just sit on a C2 bike for an hour and just blast out 15, 20K. So it's about incorporating all of that into your training. And also I would find that you're not well, you definitely won't get bored just going out 4 or 5 times a week, just running, just running. It's not well for me, if I was well, I can only speak for myself, can't I? So me personally, I would find it a bit mind numbing all the time. But then again, there's not many weeks that I kind of change it up. I do the strength training or try and do the strength training, even that's just like body weights and stuff like that. But at the minute, I'm really enjoying the running and just put my headphones on, or even sometimes just raw dogging it and just getting out. So mix the training up sometimes. Um, rest days. Rest days are non-negotiable, really. That's doesn't have to be the same rest day of each week, but rest days sort that sleep out, even if that it's just that night. Getting your 8 hours in. Foam rolling. Didn't mention that before actually. Foam rolling's kind of an alternative ish to kind of theragunning. It's, it's more boring than theragunning. You kind of rolling on the floor in front of the telly. It's not really the same as just having a theragun and just being like blasting your legs for a bit, 15 minutes. So yeah, sleep, foam rolling, building, like I said before, the active recovery. So just walking, just completely chill the body out. And kind of the last point I had was adjusting your your running plan. I previously mentioned it at the start, but adjusting it based on if that one day you are tired or fatigued, you could have had a shit night's sleep. Next door neighbours, kids are kids are up, dogs are barking, whatever it is. You just had a crap night's sleep. Don't punish yourself if the day after you're like just not feeling it today. Had no sleep, no food, been away with work, whatever you want to call it. Just scale it back. Listen to what your body's saying, but also don't let that devil on your shoulder creep in. That's to be like, go on, just do this again. Just do this again. And before you know it, you've done it 3 times, 4 times, and then you've missed pretty much a whole week of good, hard training because you all of a sudden been fatigued every day. It's, you'll know yourself when you're kind of cheating yourself. So don't cheat yourself with it. Scale back, but don't take the piss. And then the last point, kind of keeping it brief, 28 minutes for an episode. Wow. Didn't realize it'd be this long. So it's how do you stay consistent with your running plan? So a big one is setting the fixed days. So if you could see my calendar, I set certain days of the week as my tempo or my threshold or my interval. My long runs, I kind of changed them, but they somehow seem to be on a Sunday. Don't know why. Excuse me. Don't know why, but they are. So set them. You can be meticulous like me and put them in your calendar and kind of live and die by them. But they're in there, hold you partly accountable. Another good one is finding like a running buddy, running friends, a group of friends. That doesn't have to be like a run club or anything like that. That could just be a few mates from the gym or people that want to get in the running. They might be the ones that help you push on those fatigue days or those can't be arsed days, or them long run days where you kind of don't want to do it. Because let's be honest, no one really wants to go running in the rain for 30k on their own. The motivation will just drop off. Saying that, last week I actually went out for like 25k in the pissing rain and the wind, and I had no headphones. I didn't charge them again, which is a common theme if anyone's watched this podcast before. Me not charging headphones. Idiot. So I managed to get through that, but I probably couldn't do that every time. So get yourself a little running buddy. They'll drag you along. I'm hoping with this podcast, it's just a little cheeky plug, but hoping this podcast and me talking about it all the time, which I probably will talk about running all the time, that might, create a habit for you or a bit of accountability. Not that I'll be watching you per se, but you can all follow me on Strava if you want. I'll add the Strava into the bio for everyone who wants to follow us, or anyone who lives local that fancies going out for a run. Let me know. I'm more than welcome to add more people to the gang and have more friends to kind of go out running with and help that training block. If it's me helping you or you helping me or just going out for a long run, it's entirely up to you. But yeah, making it a habit and adding structure to your week or month and stuff like that will help you be consistent with your plan. Another one I had was kind of tracking your progress. Now, when I say tracking my progress, the first thing that screams to my mind is Strava, which is kind of what everyone uses. It doesn't have to be what you use to track your progress, but is the classic bit like a Facebook relationship. If you don't log it on Strava, it never happened. So do with that what you may. But even with the Chorus app that I have, you can track your progress on there. It's got like a nice calendar and weekly chart and stuff like that. So log your runs, celebrate the wins. You've hit a PB. You've ran faster in interval than you did. You've ran more intervals than you thought you would. You felt better when you finished. Your heart rate was low when you finished. You weren't out of breath. There's loads of different small wins that you can have. And the last point is, well, I'll put down bounce back from setbacks. So that's kind of a nice one to finish on with. That happens with a running plan. Things get in the way, you get ill, you just stub your toe, you rip your laces and you don't have any running shoes. You didn't do the washing, so you've got stinky, shitty clothes, so you don't want to go out running, but life happens. Kind of don't quit on it. Don't let it get in your head, and slow progress is still progress. So if that week you planned on doing 4 runs, but you only did 2, make sure them 2 are just as hard as a collective 4. That'll kind of mentally make you feel a bit better about it. But don't be too disheartened if you can't do your 4. And I'm probably saying that to myself as well. At the same time, sometimes you just can't fit it all in, but my God, I'll try my best to fit it all in and make sure I can do it, because for some reason I will struggle to sleep thinking about it. So yeah, don't quit on it. Keep going. And when it all clicks, it feels so nice. And you realise that plan that you thought was really slow at the start, or it didn't feel like it was really going anywhere, and you're waiting for, your running plan to get going, and you wanted the hard runs, that when they actually happen and you do them and then you have your taper again, you're like, wow, it feels so good. So keep sticking at it. that's kind of the overall message I would say to anyone running at the minute, is just stick at it, train with better people, and you'll get better with it. It's not a super quick thing. If you start running today, you're not going to be super fast at 5Ks next week. You might be in 12 weeks if you stick at it. So there's going to be hurdles along the way. There's going to be tests, but keep digging in. You'll get there in the end. So I didn't really know how to end these episodes because Connor used to end them. So this is the first time ending a podcast episode. So I was going to do like a conclusion and like key takeaways of like the episode and stuff like that. I don't really know how to end it, to be fair, but all I would say is keep to your plan, keep the nutrition, keep the recovery, and the rest will kind of look after itself. And don't be too harsh on yourself. Some days will just be harder than others. So, like I said, if everyone wants to, or everyone, I'll have loads of requests, but if anyone wants to follow me on Strava, I'll add I've never done it actually before, but I presume you just got a link to the profile and anyone can jump on and follow me. If anyone wants to go out for a run, I'm more than happy to go out with people. Obviously, I'm not going to travel all the way to Manchester and stuff for a run, but if you're around my local area, northwest Lancashire area, and I can do it, I'll do it, which is good with me. If anyone's got any questions about the current running plan they're doing, or just wants to like kind of bounce some ideas off me and stuff like that, send it over. If you're watching this on Instagram or YouTube, then just kind of message the channel or comment and stuff. So I'll kind of get back to you on it. And I've put down a little teaser for next week, but it's not really a teaser. It's just kind of the next topic for next week. So I'm kind of going to be doing the same thing, talking about similar topics, but kind of Hyrox based. And one thing I will say is I put kind of Hyrox on the back burner for now, as I'm focusing on just the running. But me and Connor did say for September coming, we will be going back to Birmingham to try and beat our time, to try and go sub 60. And I'm hoping with all the running we've been doing over the last year, we can get pretty close to it. But I've not pushed a sled in like 5 months. I've not done anything else really for the last 3 months that is not running related. So that'd be a good laugh. But yeah, if you want to tune in next week, we're talking Hyrox, kind of Hyrox plans and stuff similar to that. If you enjoyed the episode, new season, the new Kardashian season, whatever you want to call it, give the video a like, comment, let me know how it's gone. And I'll see you on the next one.